Although I haven't had much experience with VR as I've only used it once in my life, the situation where a popular mod adding VR feature to GTA 5 was taken down by Take-Two Interactive made me start to think, is GTA 6 gonna get VR support? It was nearly a year ago, in July 2022, when Luke Ross, author of VR mods for GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Mafia, and many other games, received a DMCA takedown notice from Take-Two. The situation was quite confusing, because Luke believed that he did not host any copyrighted materials in his files. He asked for clarifications and said that he create and distribute original modifications for those games. It seems like he didn't get any response from them, because he announced on his GitHub that the mod would no longer be updated, saying, "Due to hostile behavior from Take-Two Interactive, owner of Rockstar Games, I will no longer provide any kind of support or updates for this mod. It's been an amazing run, with almost 200,000 downloads. My constant technical support to all users for 3 years, and who knows how many additional copies of the game sold for the publisher. All in my free time and donating my personal effort." But Take-Two saw fit to kill it off anyway, along with the comparable gifts that so many other modders made to the player base, and thus indirectly to them, because that is the way they operate. Feel free to contact them if you wish to play the game in VR. I'm sure they'll have an official port coming in the next 20 years or so, and it will have spectacular next-gen graphics. As I mentioned, almost a year has passed since that situation, and it doesn't seem like the mod will be continued. It's a shame that it ended like this, but for several years now, Take-Two has been behaving quite aggressively towards modders, changing their statement about modding the game and taking down many mods. I talked about it in this video. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. First, let's take a look at why some players doubt that GTA 6 will have a VR mode. One reason is that they believe a game as big as GTA 6 would be difficult to run smoothly on any VR system of this generation. And it's not just a matter of the game's size. The level of detail that Rockstar puts into their games would require a lot of processing power to be rendered in VR. That's partly true, but just look at how good the performance of the VR mod in GTA 5 was. There's a great gameplay overview and benchmark of the mod made by Immersed Robot, and I gotta say the mod worked surprisingly fine. Also, I think if GTA was open source and the author had access to the game's source code, the mod could have been even better optimized. So in this case, it seems to me that the issue of performance is definitely manageable. Another reason some players think that a VR mode for GTA 6 won't happen is that the amount of extra work required to make it happen is just too much for a little payout. Integrating VR support into a game that was not initially designed for it can be challenging, as it requires reworking the game's mechanics and user interface to fit the VR format. This process can be time-consuming and expensive, especially for a game as large and ambitious as GTA 6, and it's not clear how many players would actually use the VR mode. But there are also some reasons to believe that a VR mode for GTA 6 is a real thing. VR technology is improving all the time, and it's possible that by the time GTA 6 is released, hopefully in 2024, there will be VR systems capable of handling a game of that size and complexity. Additionally, the immersive nature of VR could add a whole new level of immersion to the game that would be hard to replicate in a traditional gaming environment. Just imagine being able to step into the shoes of one of GTA 6 characters and fully immerse in the world of Vice City. While it's true that developing a VR mode would require a significant investment of time and resources, but it's possible that the increased level of immersion could make the game more popular and generate more revenue for Rockstar. Additionally, a VR mode could help to differentiate GTA 6 from other open-world games and provide a unique selling point for the game. Interestingly, in 2021, GTA series videos posted on Twitter that GTA San Andreas VR for Oculus Quest 2 is being developed by Video Games Deluxe, the same studio behind Rockstar's LA Noire for VR. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any further information about the VR port, and it's possible that it may have been cancelled. It's sad because it could be an indicator for Rockstar Games. If many copies of GTA San Andreas on VR would be sold, they'd also decide to make VR support for GTA 6. The situation that I mentioned before, with taking down mods by Take-Two, can suggest that they actually may be working on some VR projects, maybe also VR for GTA 6, and user-created VR mods could potentially compete with their official releases. To be honest, this theory seems quite possible, considering how unfair the VR mod takedown was. But let's talk about whether VR in GTA games even makes sense. On the one hand, the level of immersion that VR provides could make the game more exciting and intense. By placing players directly in the game world through a VR headset, they can interact with the game environment in a way that feels much more natural and intuitive than traditional controls. On the other hand, the game's fast-paced and often violent gameplay may not be suitable for all players in a VR environment and could potentially lead to motion sickness or other adverse effects. Another factor to consider consider is how many players would actually use VR in GTA 6. While there are certainly fans who would be excited about the prospect of a VR mode, it's unclear how many players would be willing to invest in a VR system just for one game. It's also worth checking whether any other Rockstar Games games support VR. The only official game I know about is LA Noire, the VR case files. It's based on LA Noire game released in 2011, where you take on the role of a detective investigating a series of crimes in Los Angeles. VR version of the game is offering 7 cases from the original game, which have been reworked to be fully compatible with virtual reality. Overall, the game has received positive reviews from players. The same team that worked on this game was also supposed to develop GTA San Andreas VR. I wish we could get some more information about this game. For me, this could be a good reason to buy a VR headset. In conclusion, the question of whether GTA 6 will have a VR mode is a complex one with many factors to consider. While some people doubt that a VR mode is possible or desirable, others believe that it could add a whole new level of immersion to the game. Ultimately, the decision will likely depend on a variety of factors, including the capabilities of current and upcoming VR systems, the potential popularity of a VR mode, and Rockstar's own priorities and goals for the game. I hope we will soon find out if GTA 6 will support VR. Maybe they will mention it in the trailer, which according to speculations, is supposed to be released this summer. Now, I would like to know, what do you think about all this? Would you like to have VR in GTA 6, or you don't really care? Do you have your own VR headset, or would you buy it specifically for GTA 6? Let me know in the comments below. I also want to thank you for such a positive response to my videos, as well as for the criticism. I will try to improve in what I do. Thank you for all the subscriptions, likes, comments, and for being here today. See you in the next one.